So today I'm going to be doing my first ever storytime sit down talk video. So I think I'm actually going to upload this onto my other channel as well because it's kind of an explaining video to where my back injury currently stands. So I haven't even talked to you guys about this on Instagram yet, so I thought I would tell you guys first and kind of explain how this all happened and how I've got to this point. And then at the end of the video I will be telling you guys basically what's going to be happening like the next 1 to 2 weeks. So my back injury started when I was 9 years old. So just to give you guys a picture, I started gymnastics when I was around 8 years old. So a year afterwards, obviously because you do a lot of bending, you do a lot of hard landings, obviously on your feet, that kind of affects your back because your back is always supporting you for all of those skills, especially back handsprings that I did a lot, like a lot, and tumbling was probably the main cause of this, but you know, I can't not do tumbling, it's a part of gymnastics. And unfortunately, it's life in gymnastics to get a lot of injuries, like broken feet, broken arms, broken elbows, I don't know. But broken back is one of them, I guess. So yeah, basically I started to feel quite a lot of pain in October of 2016, so this was 2 years ago now. And I was just feeling a bit of pain in my right hand hip. So my dad is actually a doctor, so he told me to take 1 month off of gymnastics because this pain was just starting to get too much for me to actually handle and to like take in. And obviously, you know, when you're younger you need to be really careful because you don't want to mess up your whole future by injuring something or making it worse than it already is. So at this point I didn't really think that there was anything wrong with me. I thought that there was maybe like some pulled muscles or something. I didn't really know what because obviously I felt it in my hips, so it wasn't a back pain. But anyways, I took 1 month off, which was nowhere near as long as I took off the second time that I'll get around to telling you guys. When I came back to gymnastics, I didn't really feel a lot of pain. I think it kind of just, you know, went past. I was like, this is great, I'm back to it. Bear in mind, during that month off, I also took the month off of PE in school. So every PE lesson, then I'd have to just sit there and watch everyone. And it was really, really frustrating at seeing them all have fun and running around whilst I couldn't do anything at all for that full 4-week period. And I also didn't get a X-ray at this time because my dad is a doctor, so he kind of knew what was going on and what the pain was, but he didn't tell me at the time because I don't think he thought it was anywhere near as bad as it was that it is now. But I think probably doing gymnastics over time has made it worse. So when I moved back to England in December of 2016, I had like 3 months off because of the time for finding a gym club to leaving my old one. It was around a 3-month period, but I wasn't stopping gymnastics like I did it in the garden, you know, I did it at home. It wasn't like a full stoppage like I had done with the back injury. So I found a gym and I didn't really like it. It was not a very friendly gym. They kind of, you know, took me down levels and they were like, you're not good enough for this level, like you're going to be in a really old category for this level, and it just made me feel really, really bad about myself. So I think I was at that club for around 2 weeks and then we left and we found a really nice club that I ended up loving. I was so excited to be there. They were really, really good. They pushed me hard and I got a lot of skills. Now at this club that I didn't like, they wouldn't really push me to my absolute maximum, so I found the skills very, very easy, so I wasn't putting a lot of pressure on my back, I didn't feel any pain, and life was good. But when I moved to the second club, you know, they really pushed me, back handsprings on beam again, everything that I used to do. I really started to feel quite a lot of pain, like building up in my back again, but I didn't really think much of it because it kind of came and then it would leave, and it would kind of be like that for around, you know, like 2 weeks it would hurt and then like 2 weeks it wouldn't. It was kind of like a period when it would just kind of go on and off, on and off, on and off. So, you know, I thought that was normal because I would have been stiff. I hadn't actually been like a proper gym for a really long time, so that's what I thought the cause was. And bear in mind, my dad was not here. He was in another country working, so he couldn't look at it and he couldn't like assess the pain and everything. So that was kind of a big problem that we had. So when I got to Dubai, I once again went to another club and I had been doing gymnastics straight. I never stopped doing it because obviously I love doing it like around the house and stuff, but probably doing gymnastics on hard floor didn't help either, but that's what I did. So I got to this new club, and the first day of this club, which was like my, you know, assessment day to see what group I'd be put into, I was complaining of so much pain when I was doing tumbling, and I felt tumbling was the place where it kind of built up the most, and also vault when I was doing my run-up. Like the run-up was the most painful part. Doing the actual vault was fine, but landing as well, I could not handle. Even just jumping off the beam, it would hurt a lot. So I told my coach, and he was pro, like, it's pro because you've been off for gymnastics for 4 months, you know, you haven't really done like a hard training session, so your body's probably just getting used to it. And I was like, yeah, that's very true, like that makes so much more sense than an injury does. So I would say around 2 months go by, I was doing the best that I've ever done. I had flyaways on bars, I had a layout on floor, I had a back handspring on beam, I had a half on half a vault. You know, I was really starting to get my skills ready for competition season because it was literally around the corner. So I started to feel a lot of pain right before my first competition, around 3 days before, I remember it exactly. My mum used to be a nurse, so she was like, you know what, by the amount of pain you're feeling, I don't think it's a good idea that you go to this practice competition. And my dad was like, just give her some painkillers and she'll be fine. And I wanted to do it, bear in mind, I was the one who was like, I want to do this competition, I want to go, it's fine. Because at the time, once again, it felt different pain to what it used to, so I thought that it was completely like unrelated, so I didn't really think of that as much anyways. So I went off to this competition. It was in Abu Dhabi, so me and my mum stayed the night, and then the next day it was the comp. And the night before, I was doing everything I could to get rid of this pain. I was going swimming, I was like lying in really weird positions to try and get it to go away, I was stretching a lot, and nothing, absolutely nothing helped me. The day of, I took like 500 different painkillers and it went away, but obviously it wasn't gone away on the inside, it was only gone away for the pain that I felt. So when I got to this competition, I was feeling fine. I started off with beam, which wasn't the best to start with because I had to do a back handspring, and it was the shakiest routine that I've ever done. Doing a split jump, I wobbled so much. Doing a back handspring, I fell off. Doing a switch leap, I almost fell off because my back just wouldn't hold me up any longer, and it was kind of giving up on me as much as I was giving up on it. So yeah, that was a little bit worrying. At the time, floor came around and I did my first tumbling pass, which was a round off flick layout, and it was good. So yeah, my first tumbling pass was really, really good. I did the dance. I kind of got a bit confused because I was feeling a lot of pain all of a sudden, kind of building up. And then I go to do my front handspring front tuck, and I put my hands down forwards and I do a round off. I kind of turn like this, almost like I was going to do an Arabian, and then I fell, kind of landed on my ankle weird, so I had to stop the routine. Like, I was just on the floor crying, and I think it was more pain in my back than my ankle. But yeah, I got my ankle taped and then it was fine. I did vault. I failed both of those vaults, probably because, as I said, vaulting was like most pressure being put on my back. And then it came to bars, my least favourite event. I fell twice. I fell off my dismount, I fell off the clear hip, which had nothing to do with my back, but the dismount obviously would have with a hard landing. So yeah, it was the worst competition that I ever got. I came up with third on beam, which I was very surprised about, but I just did not feel good about myself and I was not proud, and I felt like this pain was just kind of getting too much for me to actually handle. It was the worst competition I've ever done in my life. So around 2 weeks later, I got back to the gym and I was just complaining too much, and I started to cry one session, and my coach was like, okay, you just need to sit there, call your mum and get her to come and pick you up, and I need to talk to her, and then you're going to go home early because you just can't do anything. Like, you know, it was just getting too much for me. So my mum comes and he's like, you know, I think it's best that you get an x-ray. And obviously my dad works in the department, so it was like an easy thing for us to like organise that. So she was like, oh, okay. I'd never been to a hospital before, bear in mind. I'd never even broken a bone. I had never been in an x-ray before, so I was petrified when he said this. I was sitting there like, I think I'll just rest it again. That's not what happened. It was probably a good thing that I got this x-ray. So I went to the hospital a day after school on a Wednesday. I remember it so clearly, and I was getting an MRI scan. Like, if you don't know what an MRI scan is, it's basically this massive machine that you have to lie in for 30 minutes and you're not allowed to move, and it's so loud, so you have to have like earbuds in your ears, and it's absolutely horrible. You feel really claustrophobic, and it's just the worst thing that I've ever done. But basically this doesn't really x-ray your bones, it kind of x-rays like the shape of your back and everything. So my dad was the one who was looking at these x-rays once they came back. So we went to the doctor's office and he kind of looked at them and he was like, okay, so we're not seeing what we should see, we're seeing something that's a little bit off. So the MRI isn't a very detailed scan, it's not the best for what it is. So we left, we got a coffee, I was like, okay, that's great, the panic is over, I can go home now. No. I had to go back into the hospital and get a CT scan, which is basically like a mini MRI. It's only like 2 minutes, it's not anywhere near like an MRI. And I had to get back changed and everything, and it was just not a nice time for me. Bear in mind, I'd never even had a scan before. I was getting 2 at once. So basically this scan is a very detailed scan. It focuses more on your bones and more on like the joints of your back, so it's a lot more detailed scan. And they looked at this scan and saw that there were 2 cracks in kind of like the lower back of my L5 bone. So there were 2 identical cracks on each side through my bones. Now keep in mind, they weren't too big, they were kind of quite thin cracks, and the x-ray wasn't the best, you know, it could have been better, but it showed us what we needed to see. So my dad said, okay Mia, you are going to be out of gymnastics for around 3 months, or like 2 to 3 months, and I was about to cry. I was like, how is this happening? I'm going to miss out competition season. I'm like in a very fragile state right now. So yeah, basically I was just so upset and I was really angry at myself. I was like, how did I manage to let this happen? How did it happen? Like, why has this happened? And how can I fix it? And how quick am I going to be back into gymnastics? Am I not going to be able to do gymnastics again? So many things were going through my mind. So once we got back from the hospital, we didn't go home, we went to the gym. And I stayed in the car because I didn't want to go into the gym and see everyone like having fun and, you know, doing everything. And my mum spoke to my coach and, you know, told him the whole situation. He was like, okay, that's fine, and, you know, wish her the best recovery and we'll see her soon. Tell her to come and visit if she wants to. So I didn't want to go in, like I just really did not want to go in. I was not feeling like going in, so yeah. So this was 2 months with no PE or swimming at school either. And the first day, I remember when I came in on the Thursday, obviously because I had the scan on the Wednesday, my mum sent an email to my teacher saying, you know, this is like the situation, she can't do PE, can you inform like the teachers or whatever. And I remember one of my friends actually took the teacher's iPad home for the day to do like this editing thing for our class. And she came running in the corridor because obviously the email's like connected to both devices, and she saw this email like pop up. And she came running through the corridor and she was like, oh my god Mia, like, are you okay? Like, you've got a broken back. And everyone like looked at me in my class and was like, what's going on? I didn't really feel like telling everyone the day after because I was still feeling kind of like upset about it. But, you know, she was a really nice girl, so I just kind of explained to everyone. It was very difficult to explain. I thought it would be easier because I have something called spondylolisthesis. It's a mouthful, like it took me ages to learn to say it. Which basically means my back is like further forward than it should be, and we're not sure whether I was born with it or whether gymnastics kind of had an effect on this, but most likely I was born with it and gymnastics had just made it more worse. It's not a big deal, like it's not like I'm gonna die from it, but it is something that you can say I was diagnosed with this. So I didn't really know what this meant. It didn't really like make a difference. It had nothing to do with the 2 cracked bones, just wanted to point that out because that's what I was really confused about when I first heard about this. I was like, what is that? And what does it have to do with my broken bones? But yeah, that's completely irrelevant, but it's probably got something to do with how my bones have kind of given up easy. Not easy, but easier than what they should have. So now that I am back home, my dad and my mum were discussing about surgery. Because this is going to keep on coming back if I don't actually get it put in its place and I don't get it sorted. It will just keep on coming back. You know, I want to go to the Olympics, that's my goal, and I can't keep on missing like 3 months, going back for a week and then missing 3 months again. Like, it just wouldn't work. And the amount of pain that I was feeling, like, it wouldn't have worked for gymnastics either. So yeah, it didn't really work that well. So first of all, I basically lost all of the footage that I filmed after this point, so I'm just going to be doing a voiceover for the next part, so I'm really, really sorry about the inconvenience, guys. So long story short, now the only thing left to do is surgery. So I'm actually going to be getting surgery in around a week's time now, and the reason why I haven't told you guys is just because it wasn't really official until about 3 days ago. So we got a call today saying when my operation is going to be, and it's all set and ready. So next week will be the time when I get the operation. I will also be in a back brace for 3 to 6 months after the surgery to make sure that I'm not going to do anything stupid. I will be doing, once again, no gymnastics and no PE until 2019, which I'm obviously gutted by, but I know that I'm just going to work so much harder and I'll be back on track soon.